We're Malin and Johan, a Swedish couple that have been sailing full-time since 2016. After 3.5 years of sailing, we welcomed our daughter Vera on board. Our latest adventure is to build our dream boat, a 50-foot sailboat that we're building ourselves on our farm. Welcome aboard and please subscribe for weekly episodes.
Welcome to our open house!
In last week's episode, we had the open house for our patrons, which was so much fun. Then we started building the bow cone.
So I've just made a simple jig for the bow cone, so I can put this whole package through the planer and get a face planed from this point here to a point here. And once we have that plane, we can start shaping the sides of the bow cone. So from the section cuts from the 3D drawing, I know that along this line here, at each and every layer, I need to reach the bottom part of that piece. So here, 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 and here. That all those points should line up in one straight line. And that's what I will try to achieve with putting this through the planer now. So yeah, wish me luck.
Johan planed small passes to have control, and the jig worked out well. When the bow cone had gotten its front face in line, Johan started working on the sides of the cone. We are at the National Park Stenshuvud, which is not far from where we live. In English it's Rockhead. And it's a beautiful national park just by the sea. And we're going on a little hike. And as you saw, we have some company with us. We are dog sitting Johan's cousin's dog, Bella. She's an adorable 1-year-old cockapoo, and she's the sweetest. We got her yesterday and we will have her for close to 10 days. So we're super happy, and especially Vera.
So we're almost at the top, and there used to be an old fortress up here, some 1600 years ago.
Vad sa du?
Wow. Hur går jag det?
Vi klarar det, ja. Vi klarar oss till toppen. So the beach down here has been voted the most beautiful beach in Sweden. And I can understand why. It's really beautiful because you have the forest and the trees coming all the way down to that really pristine and nice sandy beach. It's kind of cold in the water though, and a lot of current. Yeah, so this is the Baltic Sea. You have the Baltic countries on the other side. Poland, Germany, Finland.
Du ser ut som en katt.
Va? Vad har du klädet?
Nej.
What a beautiful oak tree. We're at the cafe just next to the national park, having some lunch. I had a shrimp sandwich, but it disappeared so fast because I shared it with Vera, and she loves shrimps. But now I have some fika, some coffee and dessert, and this cafe is quite famous. It's called Cafe Different.
Yeah.
Cafe Annorlunda, and they have a cookie buffet. So you pay 100 Swedish kroners.
$10. It's like that, 9.
Yeah, like $9, and then you can eat all the cookies you want. So we just took a traditional coffee bread buns, cinnamon bun, and a blueberry crumble. And Bella is here. It was a good walk.
It was.
And there was so much people. But when we came back.
When we came back, yeah. This place is really popular, especially now in the summer. A lot of tourists.
There were people like we heard French, German.
But for the rest of the year, we will have it for ourselves.
Yeah, this is only like 20 minutes from the farm. We made a stop at Cruix Art Center, where both Swedish and international artists have their sculptures and installations on display in this beautiful setting.
So it's another week, and yeah, it's Monday today, and the work continues on the bow cone. As you can see, I have a pretty rough shape now on how it's going to look when it's finished. But it's pretty hard to have it on the side, trying to get the correct shape without seeing the actual hull. So I'm thinking, moving forward from now, to get the correct shape, it will be easier to have it glued in place before I continue. So that's what I will do now. I will glue it in place, and I probably will use some straps to hold it in place during the curing process. Since it's pretty thick, it will be hard to get any screws through. But the nice thing with epoxy, as I've stated many times now, is that you need a very low clamping pressure. And then this will have to sit for a few hours before I can continue working on it to let it cure. Maybe I can continue this afternoon, or I wait until tomorrow. And in the meantime, I'm thinking I will continue with the planking of the hull. So I've just sanded the backside of the bow cone with some grit 40 paper, pretty coarse paper, to get a good grip for the epoxy. And I did the same with the front of the stem. So now I'll just wipe it down with some alcohol, let that dry off, and then it's time to apply the epoxy and get the bow cone in place. It turned out it wasn't enough with the straps, so I used a few screws as well to get more pressure on it. With the screws, I got a good squeeze out of epoxy all the way around it. So now it needs to sit for a few hours to cure before I can continue working on it. So in the meantime, I will do something else. So yesterday was a kind of a slow day. I don't know why, but I couldn't really find the right motivation to work very fast. So I tied it up a little bit in here and got the strips organized, but I only managed to get 2 strips onto the hull for some reason, besides getting this bow cone glued in place. But anyway, today is a new day, and I hope I have more energy today. So I'm slowly getting there, but even with these CNC cut slabs, it's quite easy to make a mistake, to have the same shape on both sides. And in hindsight, I probably should have chosen to have twice the amount of cutting files for this, so that each slab would have been 10 millimeter thick instead of 20 that I have used now, so that the steps between these would have been smaller. That would have made this a lot easier. It's still okay now, but it's easier this way to make mistakes, since the gap between each step, it's bigger. I will fill these holes that were for the screws that I had to hold this in place. I think it looks really cool now. I mean, it's not finished yet, but it looks like a really strong bow of the boat. With this shape, it's pretty big and massive up here, but still pretty nimble and fast looking up there, or down there. And strong. I mean, there is 250 millimeters of massive oak now glued together behind this. And in the bottom we have the same behind the cedar. There's 220 millimeters of massive oak in the bottom. And in addition to that, the full first 3 meters of the boat will be a separate compartment with a watertight bulkhead separating this compartment from the rest of the boat. So it will take a lot to hit something in the water to sink the boat. Well, let's continue with the sanding. I still have some shaping to do here to get it perfect. And also I need to do some sanding up there in the bottom of the hull. Before I'm finished with this for today. Once I have the shape correct, I will coat this with some epoxy, mainly just to stop any movement in the oak, or try to prevent that before it's time for the fiberglass.
After a lot more sanding, Johan was satisfied with the shape of the cone. Then he put on the epoxy.
So we have a finished bow, and I think it turned out really good. It really looks like it does in the 3D drawings. So I'm really happy with that. And yeah, another milestone, a small one this time, but still another thing checked off that list of many things that needs to be done. So really happy with this. So that's it for this week. Thanks a lot for watching, and a big thank you to all of our patrons. Without you guys, this wouldn't have been possible. So thanks a lot. See you next week. Bye bye.